Isabella was a determined young woman who had always dreamed of having a stable and peaceful life. Working hard at 2 jobs to pay the bills and finish college, she believed she was in control of everything. But life, as she well knew, liked to play tricks on her. It all started one autumn morning when, after feeling frequent nausea and a strange feeling of tiredness, Isabella decided to take a pregnancy test. She didn't think it could be that, but the doubt persisted in bothering her. When she saw the positive result, her hands began to shake. Sitting on the bathroom floor of her small studio apartment, Isabella stared at that small piece of plastic that would change her life forever. Her mind was filled with a whirlwind of emotions: fear, surprise, joy, and enormous uncertainty. How did this happen now? She thought. The pregnancy, although unexpected, brought with it a spark of hope and, at the same time, a weight that seemed impossible to bear. Isabella knew she had to tell her boyfriend, Lucas. They had been together for 2 years, but the relationship had already had its ups and downs. Lucas was known for his free-spirited personality, which avoided serious commitments. Still, Isabella believed that he had a good heart and, deep down, hoped that he would stay by her side. That same night, she called him to talk. They sat on the couch, and, with a trembling voice, Isabella revealed the news. Lucas, at first, remained silent with wide eyes. Then, without looking directly at her, he said, "Isabella, I don't know if I'm ready for this. You know how things are for me. I can't." His words were like knives cutting her heart. Lucas continued to talk about how this wasn't the right time and even suggested that she consider other options. Isabella listened to everything in silence, but by the end of the conversation, she already knew that the path she would have to follow would be hers alone. After the conversation with Lucas, Isabella felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. The night seemed endless as she tossed and turned in bed, staring at the ceiling and trying to organize her thoughts. As uncertain and scary as the future seemed, one thing was clear in her mind: she would not give up on her baby. Lucas could have chosen not to take responsibility, but Isabella was determined to fight for this new life that now depended on her. The next morning, Isabella called her best friend, Clara. She needed someone to talk to and maybe hear some encouragement. Clara, always practical and optimistic, arrived with a bag full of snacks and a determination that only she had. They sat together on the couch, and Isabella finally let the tears she had been holding back flow. "I don't know how I'm going to make it, Clara. I don't have enough money. I haven't finished college yet, and now I'm alone," Isabella said. Clara held her hands tightly. "Isa, you've never been alone, and you won't be now. You're one of the strongest people I know, and I'll be here for you every step of the way. This baby is already lucky to have a mother like you." Clara's words were comforting, but the fear was still there, pulsing in Isabella's chest. In the days that followed, she decided that she needed to tell her family. It wouldn't be easy, especially for her mother, who had always had high expectations for her daughter's future. Gathering up her courage, Isabella visited her parents' house. Sitting at the kitchen table, she explained everything. The reaction was exactly as she had feared. Her mother was disappointed, worried about the impact this would have on Isabella's life. But after long minutes of silence, she sighed and said, "You are my daughter, and I will be here for you. I won't lie, Isa, it will be difficult, but if this is what you have chosen, I will support you." With this unexpected support and the renewed strength from Clara and her mother's words, Isabella began to make a plan. The decision to raise her child alone would not be easy, but she was determined. Amidst the challenges and uncertainties, she discovered a spark of courage that she never imagined she had. With a lighter heart after receiving support from her mother and her friend Clara, Isabella began to organize herself to face this new phase of her life. She knew that there would be many challenges, but the strength that came from her love for her baby kept her going. Even so, there were moments of loneliness. It was inevitable to feel Lucas's absence, especially because she imagined, in a not-so-distant past, that they would face the future together. One day, while returning from work, Isabella crossed paths with Donna Helena, an elderly and always very affectionate neighbor. Donna Helena, who had an incredible ability to notice when something was wrong, asked, my daughter, are you okay? You look like you've been thinking too much." Isabella hesitated, but feeling the kindness in Dona Helena's eyes, she ended up telling her about her pregnancy and the situation with Lucas. The elderly woman listened to everything in silence, and at the end, held Isabella's hands tightly. "My dear, God does not put challenges in our path without giving us the strength to overcome them. I was also a single mother, you know, and I survived. No, I did more than that. I raised a good man. You will do the same." Those words of wisdom touched Isabella deeply. In the days that followed, Dona Helena began to help Isabella in unexpected ways. She taught her simple and nutritious recipes, helped with tips on how to save money, and even accompanied her to doctor's appointments when Clara or Isabella's mother could not be there. The bond between the two grew into an unlikely and special friendship. Another unexpected help came from Isabella's boss at work. He noticed that she was more tired, and when he found out about the pregnancy, he offered her more flexible hours. "You've been a dedicated employee since you started here, Isabella, and I know life isn't easy. I'll do what I can to help you adjust," he said, handing her an adjusted schedule. These gestures of support gave Isabella the strength she needed to keep going. Despite the challenges, she felt that, little by little, she was building a network of people who truly cared about her and the baby. More than ever, Isabella realized that she wasn't alone in this journey. There was love and support where she least expected it, and that was enough to keep her determination firm. The months of pregnancy passed with ups and downs, and Isabella clung to every movement of the baby as a reminder that she was on the right path. Dona Helena, Clara, and her mother accompanied her to every appointment and helped with the preparations. Small clothes began to fill a drawer in her room, along with diapers and gifts that friends and co-workers gave her. Finally, on a cold winter morning, Isabella felt her first contractions. Despite her fear and pain, she remained calm as Clara rushed to take her to the hospital. In the delivery room, surrounded by encouraging doctors and nurses, Isabella heard her daughter's first cry. In that moment, the world stopped. Holding little Sophia in her arms, she felt a wave of love she had never experienced before. "Welcome to the world, my little one," Isabella whispered, tears of joy streaming down her face. But the next few days brought challenges. Sophia was healthy, but caring for a newborn alone was exhausting. Isabella found that the nights were endless, with cries that never seemed to stop. Even with all the help she received, there were times when she felt the weight of responsibility crushing her shoulders. The diapers piled up, and she was constantly tired. On one particularly difficult afternoon, when Sophia would not stop crying, Isabella sat on the floor and began to cry along with her. Dona Helena appeared at the door, bringing hot soup. Without saying a word, the old woman picked Sophia up and began to sing a lullaby. "Crying is good for you, my daughter," said Dona Helena, with a gentle smile. "But remember, this will all pass, and you will look back one day and be proud of how you overcame each moment." Those words renewed Isabella's hope. As the days went by, she began to adjust to the new routine. Clara continued to show up with ready-made meals. Her mother helped with the chores around the house, and Dona Helena was like a guardian angel always nearby. Isabella learned to find joy in the little moments. Sophia's smile, the touch of her little hands, and even the silent peace of the early mornings. Despite her tiredness and uncertainty, Isabella felt that she had found a strength within herself that she never imagined she had. Every difficulty was overcome with love, and Sophia became the reason Isabella kept fighting day after day. The years passed faster than Isabella could have imagined. Sophia, now 3 years old, was a child full of energy and curiosity, brightening the days of everyone around her. Her laughter was contagious, and Isabella felt that all the effort and sleepless nights had been worth it. The little girl already had her own quirks, like insisting on wearing the same hair ribbon every day and loving to hear stories before going to sleep. Although her routine was demanding, Isabella adapted. She divided her time between work, taking care of Sophia, and studying, since she never gave up on her dream of finishing college. At night, after Sophia went to sleep, She would stay up for hours reviewing texts and preparing assignments, while a cup of coffee was her faithful companion. But, like everything in life, not everything was perfect. There were times when Isabella felt alone. Children's parties, where she saw other complete families, sometimes brought back memories of Lucas and the future she once dreamed of. He had never contacted her again, and despite everything, she preferred it that way. However, on silent nights, when Sophia was already asleep and the house was immersed in silence, Isabella would find herself wondering, did he ever want to know how we were? Sophia, on the other hand, grew up surrounded by love. Clara was like an aunt to her, and Donna Helena, a grandmother at heart. The little girl's smiles were Isabella's source of energy on difficult days. The little girl loved to draw, and Isabella would often find sheets of paper with colorful scribbles scattered around the house. "That's you, Mommy, with your beautiful hair," Sophia would say proudly, holding a drawing full of hearts. Despite all the joy that Sophia brought, there was also a shadow that Isabella could not completely shake: the absence of her father. Not because she missed Lucas, but because she knew that one day Sophia would ask, "Where is Daddy? Why doesn't he come to see me?" Isabella still didn't have the answers to these questions, but she knew that when the time came, she would face this challenge with the same courage she had found to move forward. Life went on, with laughter, tears, and triumphs. Isabella still had difficult days, but each tight hug from Sophia reminded her that she was where she needed to be. And even though the future was uncertain, she was certain that she was not alone on this journey. Her daughter's love was more than enough to keep her going, one day at a time. It was an ordinary spring afternoon. Isabella had just picked Sophia up from daycare, and the two walked home hand in hand, laughing and talking about the drawing Sophia had made that day. Life had found a kind of balance, and Isabella was beginning to believe that the days of big surprises were behind her. But everything changed when, upon arriving home, she found a strange envelope slipped under the door. It was elegant, with a stamp that looked official. Upon opening it, Isabella found a business card and a formal letter. The sender was a lawyer, representing none other than Lucas, Sophia's father. Isabella's heart raced. After so long, he was back? Why? The letter was brief and to the point. The lawyer requested a meeting to discuss important matters related to the child. There were no further details, just the information that Lucas would not be present, but that the lawyer would explain everything. Isabella felt a mix of anger, confusion, and fear. Why hadn't he contacted her directly? Why now? That night was tense. While Sophia slept peacefully, Isabella lay awake, staring at the envelope and trying to guess why Lucas had sent a lawyer. Did he want to get involved in Sophia's life? Or, worse, was he planning some kind of custody dispute? In the morning, Isabella decided to share the news with Clara and her mother. They were both shocked, but agreed that she should listen to what the lawyer had to say. "You need to be prepared for anything, I say. But be firm. You built all of this on your own, and you know what's best for Sophia," Clara said, with the protective tone she always used. 2 days later, Isabella arrived at the lawyer's office, with Clara by her side for support. When she entered, she was greeted by a serious, formal man who asked her to sit down. He picked up a folder of documents and began to speak. "First of all, I am very sorry to bring you this news under such delicate circumstances. My client, Lucas, passed away 2 months ago." Isabella was overcome by shock. Lucas was dead? No matter how far apart they had been, he was the father of her daughter, and this news took her by surprise. As she tried to process the information, the lawyer continued, "He left clear instructions in his will, which involve you and your daughter. Please remain calm while I explain." And just like that, Isabella's world turned upside down once again. The office fell silent for a moment as Isabella tried to absorb the lawyer's words. Lucas was dead. The man she had thought of as indifferent for so long had now become a more complex figure in her memory. The lawyer continued, his tone calm and professional, but full of empathy. "Before he passed away, Lucas came to me and expressed his desire to correct what he considered his greatest mistake. He left specific instructions that all of his assets were to be transferred to his daughter, Sophia. He also left a letter for you. It is personal, and it is up to you whether you want to read it now or later." Isabella was speechless. She looked at Clara, who was holding her hand tightly, offering silent support. With her emotions running high, Isabella asked to read the letter right then. The lawyer opened a folder and handed her a white envelope with her name handwritten on it. With trembling hands, Isabella opened the envelope and began to read. Lucas's handwriting was familiar, and the words that filled the page looked like full of regret and sincerity. "Isabella, if you are reading this, it is because I am no longer here. Before anything else, I want to ask for forgiveness. Forgiveness for being a coward, for running away from my responsibilities, for not being by your side when you needed me the most. My decision to walk away was influenced by fear and pressure from my family. I made the mistake of believing that I was doing the best for you by letting you go on with your life without me. But I was wrong. Sophia is the greatest gift that life has given me, even though I never had the courage to meet her. Please tell her that her father loved her deeply, even from afar. I cannot change the past, but I want to somehow guarantee her future. I hope that what I left behind can help you both have a more peaceful life. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, ISA, and I am sorry that my immaturity separated us. I hope that you find the happiness you deserve, with Sophia by your side. With love and regret, Lucas." Tears fell silently as Isabella read each word. Lucas had been a man full of flaws, but also of sincere regrets. When she finished, she held the letter to her chest, trying to process the mix of emotions, sadness, compassion, and even a hint of relief in knowing that, in some way, he had tried to make peace with the past. The lawyer then explained the next steps. Lucas's assets included a small apartment and a bank account with a significant amount of money, all now in Sophia's name. Isabella didn't know if she should accept it. This inheritance seemed emotionally heavy, and she feared how it would impact her daughter's life. As she left the office, Isabella felt torn. Lucas's letter had touched a vulnerable spot in her heart, but she still didn't know how to deal with it all. It was a turn of events she had never expected, and the next step still seemed uncertain. In the days that followed, Isabella couldn't stop thinking about Lucas's letter and the inheritance he had left. On the one hand, the gesture seemed like a sincere apology, a last attempt to redeem herself. On the other hand, accepting that seemed to relive all the pain and difficult moments she had faced alone. Sophia was too young to understand what was happening. While playing with her drawings and dolls, Isabella watched her, wondering if she should tell her about her father one day. Despite everything, Sophia was the greatest gift that life had given her, and Isabella knew that any decision should be made with her daughter's well-being in mind. Clara and Donna Helena were Isabella's first points of support during that moment of uncertainty. During a conversation in her small living room, Clara gave her opinion. "ISA, you don't have to accept anything you don't want, but think about what this could mean for Sophia's future. Maybe it's not about you or what Lucas did, but about what you can offer her." Donna Helena, always wise, added, "My daughter, sometimes forgiveness is not for those who made a mistake, but for those who carry the weight of the hurt. It doesn't mean forgetting, but freeing your heart from that pain." Even with this advice, Isabella still hesitated. The idea of using Lucas's money seemed contradictory, considering all the suffering he had caused. But at the same time, she knew that this inheritance could provide Sophia with opportunities that she might not be able to offer alone. After much thought, Isabella decided to talk to her mother. They spent the afternoon together, while Sophia played in the backyard. "Mom, what do I do? Do I accept what he left, or do I continue as I am? I don't want it to seem like I'm forgiving what he did." Her mother, looking at her granddaughter, replied, "Isabella, forgiving is not agreeing. It's freeing yourself, and accepting this doesn't diminish what you've achieved so far. On the contrary, it's an act of love for Sophia." Those words began to clear Isabella's thoughts. That night, as she put Sophia to bed, she looked at her daughter's peaceful little face and realized that the decision had been inside her all along. Sophia deserved all the good things the world could offer, and if that meant accepting Lucas's inheritance, then that was what she would do. Still, Isabella knew it wouldn't be easy. Accepting Lucas's legacy also meant confronting memories she had tried to bury. But out of love for her daughter, Isabella decided to take the next step. The next day, she contacted her lawyer to inform him of her decision. The pieces were starting to fall into place, but new challenges were yet to come. A few weeks after Isabella told her lawyer about her decision, another surprise came knocking on her door. Lucas's parents, whom she barely knew, had contacted her through the same lawyer. They asked to meet with Isabella and Sophia, saying they needed to settle matters. Reckoning with the past, the idea of seeing them brought up contradictory feelings. Isabella was reluctant to reopen wounds, but she knew she had to face this part of the story. On the agreed day, Isabella welcomed Lucas' parents into her home. They arrived visibly emotional and nervous. Lucas' mother was the first to speak, holding a handkerchief in her trembling hands. Isabella, we don't even know where to begin. We were blind and selfish. We forced Lucas to make decisions he never wanted, and that's why we lost the chance to meet you and Sophia. Today, all we want is to ask for forgiveness. Lucas' father, with tears in his eyes, knelt before her. We were unfair to you. If we had known how much this would affect you, we would never have done what we did. Please accept what our son left for you and Sophia. It's the least we can do to try to correct our mistakes. Isabella, touched by their words, felt the pain that those people carried. She realized that her regret was sincere, but she also remembered everything she had gone through alone. For a few minutes, she remained silent, letting the words echo within her. Finally, she broke the silence. I accepted what Lucas left because I want to guarantee Sophia's future, but that doesn't mean I forget what I went through. However, I understand that we all carry our pain. I can't promise to forgive completely now, but I accept your apology as a first step. Lucas's parents cried, relieved to be heard. The conversation continued for hours, filled with confessions and stories about Lucas that Isabella had never met. They talked about how he had changed after the separation and how, in recent years, he had struggled with illness while trying to find a way to make amends for his mistakes. At the end of the visit, Sophia's grandparents asked to meet her. Isabella hesitated, but decided to introduce the girl. Sophia, with her contagious energy, ran up to them and greeted them with an innocent smile. "Are you friends of my mommy?" she asked, not realizing the complexity of their relationship. The grandparents, moved, promised Isabella that they would be a constant presence in their granddaughter's life, but would respect any limits she imposed. Isabella, in turn, saw in that moment a chance for reconstruction, not only for them, but also for herself and Sophia. At the end of the day, she felt that something had changed. It was not just about accepting the inheritance or forgiving the past. It was about creating a space for peace and, who knows, starting to write a future where love prevailed over pain. Isabella, looking at little Sophia playing in the backyard, realized how much her life had changed. The past, once so heavy, was beginning to lose its power to control her emotions. Accepting Lucas' inheritance was not only a financial decision, but a step towards forgiveness, not only for him, but also for herself. She realized that carrying the hurt no longer made sense. Now, she had a new mission, to ensure that Sophia grew up surrounded by love and opportunities. Lucas' parents, now present in their granddaughter's life, kept their promise to support Isabella and Sophia. They became constant figures, respecting Isabella's space, but bringing Sophia the affection they had missed for so many years. It was a bond that was built slowly, but sincerely. For Sophia, those moments of togetherness were just more happy parts of her childhood. Isabella, in turn, began to transform the pain into purpose. Inspired by her journey, she decided to create a blog to share her story and offer support to other single mothers. The virtual space became a source of connection, where other women found strength in her words and shared their own experiences. Over time, the blog grew, attracting the attention of sponsors and becoming a platform for Isabella to earn extra income. She also began to speak at events about motherhood and overcoming difficulties, using her journey as a testament to the power of love, resilience, and faith. Each step she took was a reminder that the challenges of the past were now propelling her towards a bright future. Sophia, still unaware of the full complexity of her story, continued to grow as a happy child full of dreams. Isabella planned to tell her daughter the truth when she was ready, but until then, her focus was on building a solid foundation for them both. Reflecting on everything she had experienced, Isabella wrote a final message on her blog that encapsulated her journey. If you are going through difficult times, know that the future still holds incredible surprises. As unpredictable as life is, it also offers us chances to start over. Love, fight, and above all, never lose hope. That is what I have learned from my daughter, Sophia, and from life's unexpected twists and turns. This message not only touched hearts, but also became the essence of her mission. Isabella was no longer just a hard-working mother. She became an example of overcoming and inspiration for all those seeking a new beginning. And so, she and Sophia moved forward, building a story of love, strength, and hope that would never be forgotten. If this story touched you, leave a comment and share it to inspire more people. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to follow more exciting stories like this one.